Welcome to Cedar Haven. In this video, we will give you a tour of the property and introduce you to some of the unique ecosystems that we have here: wetlands, forests, and grasslands. Our hope is that you will get to know the property better and recognize it in future videos.
Here at Cedar Haven, we have 96 acres of land, a third of which is part of the Beverly Swamp, which is a large regional wetland. Bill and Linda Hendry, the owners of Cedar Haven, were approached by developers to buy some of their land and turn it into a golf course. This wasn't the vision they had in mind, and thanks to their generosity, they invited a Rocha to conserve and steward the land here. Behind me, you can see the Cedar Haven office space, and our conservation science assistant hard at work.
Here we overlook the central part of the property. You see the pond behind me, we'll visit that later, and then to my left you have the garden. There's lots of rhubarb and raspberries growing. Now we'll go take you to visit the horses.
All of these animals are either retired or rescued. We have Molly the donkey, Art the racehorse, and Moses the pony. Here we are in the forest south of the pond. I have a plant here called wood sorrel. If you take a look at the leaves, you'll notice that they're heart-shaped and in clusters of 3. They also have a bright lime green color. This is an edible plant that kind of tastes like lemon candy. If you're ever here and you want to try it, just let one of us know and we'll show you where it is.
Welcome to the Cedar Haven Pond. Now, a lot of rural properties have man-made ponds in them, however, they are not natural. Our hope is to naturalize this pond by removing invasive species, planting native plants, and monitoring the water quality. This way, we can create and improve habitats for lots of pond life. There are a lot of creatures that are part of the Cedar Haven pond community: fish, dragonflies, and I've even seen a great blue heron here. A new creature that is a part of this community is a snapping turtle. Our hope that is when we're working to naturalize the pond, we'll create a better breeding grounds for this turtle.
Now we're going to go take a walk to the east field. Welcome to the east field. Behind me you can see a tree line, which is actually a swamp, that's a kind of wetland, where a lot of frogs hang out. So when you're walking along the path in the east field, you'll see lots of frogs jumping at your feet. Here we are further along the path in the east field. Now I'm standing in the same wetland I was just talking about, where all the frogs come from. But here you can see the stream. Now the stream is where we do some fish monitoring, which means that we put a trap in the water and record the different size and species of fish that we find here. Now eventually, we hope to be able to restore this to a native grasslands community. Now we're going to follow Claire over to the willows.
This area has become an important place where we come together to connect both to nature and each other. At this fire pit, we gather for events and come together as a team. Additionally, this area is an important habitat for many birds. In this willow, you'll find a Baltimore Oriole's nest, and if you hear a little chattering, that's the call. Behind me are honeybees, busy at work. We also have a lot of native bumblebees on the property. However, their populations have been declining recently, so we're making sure that we monitor them. Now, over here, there's a grassland. There have been 2 species that we found here, an eastern meadowlark and a bobolink. Both of those species, their populations are declining, so it's great that they found a habitat here.
Welcome to Swallowsville. We set this place up in order to conserve some of our bird species at risk, like the tree swallow and eastern bluebird. Next, we're going to check out where the salamanders live. Follow me. Salamanders like to live in moist, wet environments under logs or leaves. These wooden boards kind of mimic that environment and help us to monitor them. Come take a look. This is one of my favorite places in the forest loop. You can see that the stream is really wide. It's one of the widest points on all of Cedar Haven's property right here. The water level also right now is a little low because it's mid-June. In the springtime, you probably wouldn't even be able to see any of these rocks.
Now, a lot of the trees on Cedar Haven's property are hemlock or cedar trees. On a cold day, we'll make cedar tea out of the leaves. You'll notice that there isn't a lot of undergrowth here. That's because the trees block out the sunlight. This is then an open area, but yet still feels cozy because of the canopy above. Now we're going to head to the back of the property.
Here we are at the back of Cedar Haven's property. Not a lot of people have been back here, but you can see there's still a lot going on. We have nest box and lots of flowers, especially later on in the season. It's also where I see a lot of wildlife at Cedar Haven, like deer, ruffed grouse, and porcupine. If you look out over the grassland, you can see that back tree line. That's as far north as Cedar Haven's property goes. This is the last thing that we want to show you. The site that I'm standing on could potentially be an alvar. An alvar is a rare landform in Ontario which has little to no soil and is on top of bedrock, which results in really dry conditions. There's a lot of rare plants that can be found here. In order to make sure this place is an alvar, we have to find 4 out of 5 characteristic species and ensure that over 50% of all the plants you see here are native. Now that you've seen all the places that Cedar Haven has to offer, we're going to head back to the house.
We hope you enjoyed learning about the unique places we have here at Cedar Haven, the pond, the forest, and many others. Here we are able to study and conserve the natural world, as well as connect to it and each other. We encourage you to get to know your own place, the creatures, the land, and the people that inhabit it. Thanks for watching!